good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How is everybody doing? Well, guess what? It's a new day and therefore a new name has been linked with us yesterday evening by a very reliable source, Gianluca Di Marzio, saying that De Rossi wants and is really attracted by Matias, Soulé, the Juventus player who was on loan at Frosinone this season. Also, I want to speak about these rumors of a 30 million budget that the Fredkins are going to put towards the transfer window this summer. And on the other hand, this interest, actually confirmed by another very reliable source. Both Gianluca Di Marzio and Angelo Mangiante have basically said how the Fredkins are really interested in buying Everton in the Premier League. And yeah, that's not a great news in my opinion, because in my opinion, if you want to flourish, the attention on the ownership needs to be on one single club. And the more clubs they buy, the more their money, the more their attention, and the more everything is going to get divided. And I definitely am not a fan of this. But we'll definitely speak about this today. How is everybody doing? Let me know how your weekend is going, your Saturday. Hope everything is going well. Yeah, so don't forget to hit the like. Also subscribe to the channel. Get as many likes as possible. Get as many people to subscribe if you haven't already. Get your friends and families over. Let's talk about Matias Soulé. I'm in love with this player, and I remember I repeated this in one of those videos that I made earlier this year, where I was like top 3 player that I want Roma to sign, and I definitely put Soulé in my list. I think his talent is incredible. I think he tried to single-handedly carry Frosinone. His mission failed, but it's understandable because, you can't really expect somebody who's, 19 years old to carry a team out of relegation. They were really close in doing this, and I think Soulé scored a lot of goals this season to try and help Frosinone. Yeah, I'm a very big fan of this player. I would love to see him at my football club. And also I like the direction of these players. They're young players, they're not injury prone players, young profiles, which in the future, if we need money, we can resell for a lot of money. So I'm definitely liking the direction of names that we've been linked with. I think as much as most probably 80% of these names that have been linked with us in these past days are not going to happen, because it's just, it's just bullshit, in other words. And I agree, a lot of these names won't happen because in the past 7 days we've been linked with at least 33 different players. Of course, we won't sign all of them, so a lot of these players won't happen. But if there's one thing that I think all of these names have in common, is that they are young players, that they are non-injury prone players, they are consistent players, and as I said before, the most important thing is that they're young and that their value is increasing. Because in these past few seasons, we've only bought players whose value was decreasing, and that is a problem as to why all the players in our current team, except for Bove and Zvelor and Ndika, are all players which don't have market because nobody is interested in signing them, and Roma is not interested in selling them because they won't make half the amount of money that they have when buying them. So these are things that, in order to have a good financial clear out, you need to take in consideration. And the names, all the names that we've been linked, satisfy this new project, this new identity, this new philosophy of, let me change chapter, this is the direction I want to go to. And a lot of these players have value. A lot of these players, in my opinion, have exaggerated amount of value, because I've seen some Juventus sources saying that in order for Juventus to sell Soulé, they ask for 40 million. Now, I think that's humanly wrong. I think that is what costs Juventus point deductions. You cannot ask a player who has never played in your first team and went on loan to Frosinone, had a great season, but he didn't save Frosinone from relegation. You can't all of a sudden ask 40 million from him. I think that's utter bullshit. And I think, unfortunately, it's it's a bit of a dangerous move, in my opinion, spending 40 million on him. If we manage to get him for 20 million, then of course it would be amazing. Of course it would be unbelievable. But 40 million for Matias Soulè, as much as I love him, I'd be very careful in spending 40 million, because 40 million is a lot of money, my friends. Look, hello to everybody in the chat. I'll read comments in the end, but hello to everybody. Max, Charalli, Rose, Spidey, Rocco, Aiden, Chris, Romanista. Yeah, shout out to all of you. I think the other thing here is, I'm not saying it's the time to make decisions, because it's very early, and I'm liking how active we're potentially being behind the scenes in the transfer window to kind of get things done quick and get the players in for preseason. But we also need to start making decisions, because I can guarantee you, as a matter of fact, we will not be able to afford both Soulé and Chiesa. So already you're at a crossroad. You're like, do I go with Chiesa, who might guarantee you better stats in one season, immediate process, try to get that top 4 immediately? Or do you go with Soulé, who is going to cost less, his wages are less, but in the long term it's probably going to be a smarter move. He's less injury prone than Chiesa. So you see what I mean? Yes, it's great to be linked with a lot of these players, but not all of them are going to happen. And a lot of these players are so different to each other that you're like, right, this is really bullshit, because it's like, trust me, it's impossible that this team affords Chiesa and Soulé in one transfer. It's impossible. If it happens, it means that all of a sudden the Fredkins have decided to actually invest. In my opinion, I find it very, very, very unlikely that we're gonna sign both Soulé and Chiesa. I know that Napoli are interested in Chiesa. Di Marzio yesterday evening has said how that meeting with Chiesa's agents in Roma is still gonna happen, but Napoli and Conte are also very interested in him. So again, I'm not expecting Roma to sign players right now, because I understand that there are complications in signing players right now. Players who are at the Euros, season just ended, transfer window still hasn't opened. So yes, okay, I understand. It's normal us not having signed players right now, but to have a good preseason and ultimately to have a good start to the season, we need to get the biggest pieces of this puzzle in as early as possible. Not now, it's understandable that we're not getting things done now, but we need to start trying to lock agreements with players. And yeah, but Di Marzio has confirmed the news about Soulé. So as much as, yes, the Soulé and Chiesa duo looks very impossible, and for fans like us, it won't happen, we also do need to say that it's Di Marzio who has said that Roma are interested in both Chiesa and Soulé, and that Chiesa's agents are going to meet with Ghisolfi next week, and that De Rossi is really interested in Soulé. So as much as these things do sound like crazy to us and very unlikely, the positive thing here is that the Soulé news and the Chiesa news have both been launched by Di Marzio. And don't forget, Di Marzio is a very reliable source. So yeah, moving on, I think there was this article that I read today about the budget, because of course one of the things that now that Ghisolfi's in Rome, now that Lina Suluku is going to have a lot of power in these decisions, De Rossi, now that this week and the next week are going to be about deciding, putting names on a piece of paper and all of that, another big objective is budget. A lot of us are asking ourselves, what will the budget be? Because we expect and we need to see the Fredkins investing in money here. We need to see the Fredkins investing money, because we've been mediocre and we are floating in this ocean of mediocrity. And if we don't step up our game, the gap between us, Milan, Juventus, Atalanta, Napoli with Conte, and Inter is gonna keep on increasing, and it's going to take us 5 to 10 years to reach their level. So we need to see investments. And I woke up today and I read an article saying how the budget coming out of the Fredkin's pocket for this transfer window is going to be 30 million. And I'm like, that's not enough. Like, look, I'm the first one to say that to have a successful transfer window, you don't need to be spending a lot of money. It's about quality over quantity. And I've said this, I've repeated this, and I'm the first one to say this. But 30 million is nothing. If we want to buy Chiesa, that's 25 million. That's basically your budget fucked up. So, look, 30 million is the money that they're going to put from their pocket. Then you're going to add the money from sales. So, let's say we sell Tammy for 25 million. Let's say we sell Zaleski for 10 million. That's already 35 million. Let's say we sell Korsdorp. We sell Rui Patricio and we get 3 million from these 3 players. That's 38 added to the 30 million. Yes, okay, the overall transfer budget is probably going to be around 70, 80, maybe even 90 million if we're smart on our moves. But I'm going to say this now, I would rather the transfer budget be 75 million and keep Bove than 90 million and sell Bove. I've said this yesterday and I'm going to say it again. If we sell Bove, I am going to chain my hands on the gates of Trigoria, and I'm not even joking. So if Bove needs to be sacrificed to hire the transfer budget, then I'm against it. Because in the next 5 years, Bove flourishes, we're going to be very interested in him, and we're going to probably spend 40 million on him. And we're never going to learn from our mistakes. So 70, I think if you ask me what the budget is going to be, if the news of them putting 30 million from their pocket is true, then 30 million from their pocket, 25 million if we sell Tammy, that's 65 million, that's 55 million. Sell Zaleski for 10, that's 65 million. Get an extra 10 million from the other scraps, a war, Korsdorp, Rui Patricio, that's probably going to be around 70 to 75 million. 70 to 75 million as a transfer budget is not bad. So this is where the other side of the cards come in and go, okay, now we're starting to talk. But there needs to be a step up in the amount of money that they put from their own pocket. Because I'm sorry, but we need to try and reduce this gap. And I don't see us get top 4 next season. In fact, I don't see us get top 5 next season. I don't. And this is not a pessimistic opinion. This is a realistic opinion. We've started a new project. A lot of the players that we're going to buy are going to be young. They're not going to be coming from the Serie A. So they need time to orientate and adapt themselves. I think if this project works out, if our scouting hits, if our scouting department has worked well to identify the players, and if we buy good quality players, I think this project is going to start peaking in around 2 years. So the first year of this project, to get top 5 is going to be impossible. And it's the truth. Look at our team right now and look at Atalanta, Milan, Juventus, Inter, and Napoli. Because a bad season for Conte in the Serie A, it means he gets Napoli second and he doesn't win the league. Conte and Napoli are guaranteed going to get top 5. Juventus, in my opinion, I think new Calafiori, Cup Miners, Vlahovic, I think Motta's going to bring him. Again, maybe Motta's project is going to take a bit to make itself big, like he did with Bologna. But Juventus have quality. So I see Juventus in that list. I see Inter in that list. Milan I see in that list. Okay, a lot of Milan fans are skeptical about Fonseca. But I'm like, if Milan present themselves next season with Leao, Joshua Zirkzee, and Pulisic up front, that's a deadly trio. And I also see Atalanta better than us. So I don't want to put pressure. I don't. Because I understand that saying that we won't get Champions League football next season is not going against the law. It's not. I think to get Champions League football next season, De Rossi needs to pull a miracle. because I see these 5 teams superior than us. I do. I cannot see Roma getting ahead of any of these next 5 teams. These 5 teams that I mentioned. But I want to clarify this again, because people are going to listen to this and go, this guy doesn't believe in his team. That's the last thing I want to hear. Because we need to understand that if this is the start of a new project, and that there's going to be a financial wage cut, there's going to be a new search for profiles and all of that, then it's absolutely normal not to get Champions League football in the first season. The problem comes in if we don't get Champions League football in season 2, in season 3, and in season 4. That's the problem. But expecting Champions League football in this new year, in the first year of this new starting point, with a team which won't be as strong as these previous 5 teams that I mentioned, I think we're asking a lot. So I'm like, yeah, look, Serie A next season is going to be very competitive. I look at the teams that are in it, and I'm like, I still see Inter as favourites, but the gap between Inter and the rest has definitely narrowed. It's going to be very interesting. I think next season, Serie A is going to be the most competitive league. I do. But speaking on the behalf of my team, I think we need a perfect season to get Champions League football. And with Roma, a perfect season is very, very unlikely. Now, remember what I said 1 month ago. Remember what I said the day after we got eliminated from Bayer Leverkusen. I do think that we are going to win the Europa League next season. If that's the case, then of course we get Champions League. But I'm speaking on a domestic point of view. And on a domestic point of view, I think we're very, very, very far away from combing that gap with Napoli, Atalanta, Juventus, Inter, and Milan. But bring it on. Life is about challenges. Football is definitely about challenges as well. And I can't wait the season to start again. I'm already feeling the withdrawal symptoms from Roma, you know? Yeah, we're always like, I can't wait the season to end, but then 3 days after it ends, we're like, we get withdrawal symptoms. But that's the way I see it. I try to set my bars on a realistic level. I don't try to overexceed expectations, because I think if anybody says that Roma are going to get Champions League football next season, I think they're overexceeding expectations. They can do that. I've got nothing against them doing that, but I'm like, be careful with doing that, because if we don't achieve the objectives, then you're gonna be very pissed with yourself. So yeah, look, I don't want to put pressure on Ghisolfi. I want to put patience on him. I want to put patience on De Rossi. I want to put patience on the team. The only person who needs to feel the pressure here is Dan Fredkin. Dan Fredkin needs to feel the pressure and the responsibility and putting money from his pocket on this table. Also, because, you know, I've got nothing against his business moves, because at the end of the day, they are here to make money and they are smart people. All you can say is, I mean, you can say everything against them, but that they are not smart. The fact that they have set and opened the season tickets before the transfer window even starts, in my opinion, is a very smart move. It's a very smart move from them. It's a risky move for us, because they are using us fans here. Because what they've done here is that, right, I'm going to set the season tickets for next season as early as possible, so that everybody cashes in on the season tickets. Everybody buys the season tickets. Records are going to be broken. Everybody do it. Everybody get the season tickets and all of that. And then they do this before the transfer window starts, so that if the transfer window isn't successful, then all of those people already have their season ticket. And look, I can proudly confirm that I did extend my season ticket yesterday. I managed to extend it with my friends. It was actually very tough, because it was very anxious, because there were like 5,000 people in that virtual line, and it was me and my 3 friends, the guys you see in the video sitting behind me. And we were all like getting into that virtual line, and we were convinced that we were not going to be able to get seats all together, but we managed to get seats all together. So yeah, I can proudly announce that there are gonna be stadium vlogs next season. I have extended my season ticket, but now that I've extended and spent quite a lot of money on it, I want the Fredkins to make some changes, to be determined, to kind of be determined to invest in this team. Because I pay to watch the team, all good, I give you the money, I love this team, but you need to balance that out with money and investments, because otherwise you're playing with fire. Hello, Swan. Hello. Any news on Calafiori? Calafiori is gonna go to Juve, mate. He is. He's probably gonna be one of their biggest priorities this summer. Ghisolfi is playing the quiet game, I think. Very smart move. Similar to Pinto. Pinto was also quiet. Pinto spoke a lot when Mourinho put pressure on him to speak. But yeah, before that, he was a very silent man. And then the last news to react to today is Mangiante and Di Marzio are both saying that the Fredkins want to make their way into the Premier League and that they've presented an offer to buy Everton Football Club. I am not here to react to those news. I think Everton fan channels can do that. But I will say that I don't think this is a massive benefit for us. Especially because the Premier League, like, I'll give you an example here. The Fredkins, one of their biggest priorities this season was to get this. One of their biggest priorities in buying Roma was to get that stadium built. Now, they've understood that Italy is a very complicated country to get things going and working. And they've understood, in my opinion, they've understood that building a stadium in Italy, they're probably not going to see that stadium because they're going to die. I mean, the moment and the day that stadium gets announced and unveiled, the Fredkins are probably going to be retired when it comes to their business job. They've understood that Italy is a very complicated country to get these things going, that government projects and all of that get delayed every month. If they're interested in signing Everton, now, Everton, correct me if I'm wrong, but Everton have just built a completely new, high-tech, new modern infrastructure here. Stadium. So, and my only fear here is, number one fear is that the more clubs they buy, the less interest and money is going to be on us, because of course this is logics. If you've got more things, then of course you're going to share the money in between these things. That's my number one fear. My number two fear here is that they are going to understand that England and the Premier League, it's way easier to get things done in England and in such an attractive league like the Premier League, which has got an immense money circulation around it, that they're going to start putting Everton above Roma because they feel like it's easier to work with it. Everton have a lot of financial and legal issues, and it'll be very interesting to see how they deal with this. But, we can't celebrate this, because I think if there's one thing that the Premier League does better than anything else, than any league in the world, is this concept of money. Like, it's this concept of, if I want to do something to improve my own business and therefore improve the image of the club that I have, sure, you do it. It's going to take you 1 year to do it. Everton started building that stadium, I believe 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And that stadium will be unveiled next season. In 3 years, in England, in 3 years, you build a completely new stadium. In Italy, in 3 years, you've got governments delaying, accepting the project. And a stadium in Italy, it's going to take 23 years to build. So I think on a business point of view, they're going to be very attracted if they do end up signing Everton, that maybe it's going to restrict their attention on us. that might be a good thing if you're Fredkin out. If you're Fredkin out, then it might mean that if they get fueled up by Everton, they're going to start selling Roma. I'm not sure. I'm not into these things and I couldn't care less. But of course it does affect us a bit because, you know, don't forget they also are the owners of Cannes in the French league, in the French second division. So the second they're the owners of Roma, owners of Cannes and owners of Everton, you see how they need to share attention and money and finances and yeah, look, I don't know. I think I'm not saying I'm worried, but I just feel like to be on top of the world, you need to. These are the little details which doesn't allow us to get on top of the world. You know, I think these are the little details which restrict our expansion into becoming a bigger club. But yeah, look, we'll see how it goes. Right, let me read a few comments. Don't see the point of getting Soulé. I do, mate. I think Soulé is a very talented player. He's very young and his value is not gonna be that high. Look, I'd be very tempted to say that out of Chiesa and Soulé, I'd be more tempted to get Soulé. I'd love any, but Soulé, in my opinion, is the profile that in order for this project to move on, you know, he's young and all of that. Less injury prone than Chiesa. Of course, it's going to take more time for him than Chiesa to adapt. But I don't know. I'd be happy with both. Both are not going to happen. I'd be very surprised if we managed to get both. Chiesa is unselfish and is good with both feet. I think Chiesa over Soulé is a no-brainer. I'd be happy with both. You can see that Rossi wants to build an Italian-Argentinian team. Maybe cost as if... Yeah, that's a good point. Hello, Oethu. No matter who Roma signs this summer, whether I dislike the player, as long as DDR is behind it, I trust the transfer. That's what every fan should do. That's what every fan should do. Yeah. Soulé would be a good signing, says Rose. I'm a bit confused on how much Juve want to sell Chiesa. First it was 25 million, but then other sources say 40 million. Well, I think they're going to start with 40 million, but then they're going to realize that nobody's going to spend 40 million, and then they're probably going to lower it to 30 million. Yeah. Napoli are interested in them, so in him. I don't know. It's not going to be easy because, again, don't forget, Napoli have got Conte. Conte's like a Mourinho when it comes to attraction, so... Yeah. I mean, for a player, Conte is definitely more attracting than De Rossi. But that's where De Rossi needs to play his game. That's where De Rossi needs to be. That's where De Rossi needs to... That's where I don't want to see De Rossi going, I'm not Conte, I'm not a good manager. It's because that means nothing. You know, that's where I back my manager. Yes, okay, you might not be as attractive as Conte, but you just started your managerial career. You know, you just started this life experience. You can't ask to be more attractive than a very winning mentality coach like Conte. It's going to take time. If Chiesa wants to come, he comes. If he wants to play under De Rossi, he comes. If he feels more attractive than Conte, he goes to Napoli. And that's where De Rossi doesn't need to feel sorry because it's not his fault. Imagine if Chiesa does crazy stuff at the Euros and then Roma can't afford him anymore. That'd be typical for us Roma fans. Everton is a dumpster fire with their legal issues. Why this year we're not interested in free agents or loans? They want to buy players with 30 million budget. Bullshit in my opinion. Let's wait to start transfer market and let's see what they can do. Well, because we've got more freedom from financial fair play. So that's why we're not only interested in free agents. Mr. Pinto blocked Josie from getting his signings. Now he's going to instruction and change. The DDR is getting backed. Hope Roma gets top 4 next season. Dybala, Chiesa and Soulé. That is our idea trident. So ready for the season to start. Really hoping for Zegrova. Yeah, he's not a bad name. I also like him. Right. I'm going to catch you tomorrow. This week, my Euro 2024 group stage predictions are going to come out. Also, for this summer, I've studied this. I need a few pieces, but I may or may not be starting a Roma FIFA career mode. That is going to be very interesting. It's not going to happen tomorrow because I need to order a few pieces and I need to update everything. But maybe in a few weeks I'm going to start streaming Roma career mode on FIFA. So stay tuned for that. Right, let me know your opinions and thoughts on today's topics. Please do hit the like, enjoy your Saturday, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Also subscribe and follow Roma Theory TV on Instagram over there in the box down below. If we can get 80 likes on this video, it would be great. And let me know in the comments your #1 pick for this summer's transfer window. Talk to you soon. Take care. Simo out.